Brazil has won 5 World Cups. Produced Pelé. Produced Ronaldo. Produced Ronaldinho. Produced Neymar. But here's something most football fans don't know. Some Brazilian-born players never represented Brazil. Instead, they represented other countries at the World Cup. And one of them actually played for Brazil first, before switching sides. Why? Because Brazil produces more footballers than any country on earth. So many footballers that entire national teams have been built from players Brazil simply didn't need. Germany, Spain, Italy, Portugal all looked at Brazil's surplus and said, yeah, we'll take those. These are 5 Brazilian-born footballers who played at the World Cup for somebody else. Welcome to Brazil Uncovered. Subscribe, leave a like, and let's get into it. Number 1. Kaká, Germany, 2010 World Cup. Claudemir Jeronimo Barreto was born on March 27, 1981, in Santo André, São Paulo. He grew up in Brazil, started his career at Portuguesa de Desportos in São Paulo, and left for Germany as a young adult in 2000, age 19, when he signed for VfB Stuttgart's feeder system. He spent years in the lower divisions of German football before breaking through to the Bundesliga. He became a national team. The following year, Germany went to the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. Kaká started, and in Germany's opening group game against Australia, he scored. Germany reached the semi-final that year before losing to Spain. Kaká made a genuine contribution to one of the most exciting German sides in years, alongside Müller, Ozil, Klose. Now, here's my take. Kaká left Brazil at 19. That's not a child, but it's also not a fully established adult with deep roots. He built his entire professional career in Germany, lived there for a decade before putting on the national shirt, genuinely integrated into the country. I'm not going to call that cowardly. He went there, did the work, earned the citizenship the hard way. But I will say this. If Brazil's talent pool is so deep that a man who would go on to score at a World Cup couldn't even get a look in from the Seleção, that says everything about why other countries were so happy to take what Brazil left on the table. And already, you can see the pattern. Nobody rejected Kaká because he wasn't good enough. Germany got a World Cup goal scorer. Brazil just had too many players already. And the next story gets even stranger. A man born in the same city as Pelé played a World Cup for Italy. Not because Italy stole him, not because Brazil lost him, because Brazil ignored him. His name was Thiago Motta. Thiago Motta was born on August 28, 1982, in Bauru, São Paulo, the same city as Pelé. Let that breathe for a second. He came through the youth academy at EC Bauru, then moved to Barcelona in 2001 at the age of 18. He played for Barcelona's B team, then for Atletico Madrid, Genoa, Inter Milan, and eventually Paris Saint-Germain. In 2003, age 20, he made one single appearance for the Brazilian national team. One game. And then Brazil never called him again. After 5 years of living in Italy, he obtained Italian citizenship. In 2011, he made his debut for the Azzurri. And in 2014, Italy went to the World Cup in Brazil. Yes, in Brazil. And Thiago Motta was in the squad. A man born in Bauru, São Paulo, flew to Brazil as a member of the Italian national team that year. But Thiago Motta had already made his point. Or rather, Brazil had made it for him, by ignoring him for over a decade. My take, Thiago Motta left Brazil at 18, built his entire career in Europe, and became Italian through genuine residence and integration. I can't call it cowardice. He went where opportunity existed. But I will say, one cap for Brazil and then nothing? Someone at the CBF has some explaining to do. because the man went on to manage Bologna to the Champions League and is currently the head coach of Juventus. The football brain was always there. Brazil just didn't bother to look properly. 2 players, 2 countries, 1 pattern. Brazil wasn't losing talent. Brazil was producing more talent than it could possibly use. And we're only getting started. Imagine winning 2 Champions Leagues, being one of the best midfielders on earth, playing alongside Cristiano Ronaldo, playing alongside Ronaldinho. Was born on August 27, 1977, in São Bernardo do Campo, São Paulo. He played in the youth system at Guarani, then left Brazil for Portugal at the age of 19 in 1997. He joined Benfica, then Porto, where under José Mourinho he became one of the best midfielders in European football. He won the UEFA Champions League with Porto in 2004. He moved to Barcelona and won it again in 2006. 2 Champions Leagues, one of the most decorated midfielders of his generation. After 5 years of Portuguese residency, Deco obtained Portuguese citizenship and was called up to the national team. He represented the 2006 World Cup squad included Luis Figo, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Deco. A Brazilian born in São Paulo, playing in one of the best midfields Portugal had ever assembled. Portugal reached the semi-final of that tournament. They were eliminated by France. Brazil, in that same tournament, were eliminated in the quarterfinals by France. Both knocked out by the same team. The irony practically writes itself. My take on Deco. He left Brazil at 19, spent 5 years building a life in Portugal before representing them, and never looked back. The connection to Portugal was genuine. I'm not calling it betrayal. But here's the thing that always gets me about Deco. At his peak, 2004, 2005, 2006, he was genuinely one of the 5 best midfielders in world football. And Brazil, in that same period, had Ronaldinho, Kaká, Emerson, Gilberto Silva, Zé Roberto, Juninho Pernambucano. The queue was simply too long. Portugal got a Champions League winner because Brazil's midfield was too crowded to notice him. That's not Deco's fault. An adult. Someone who already had a Brazilian career. Someone who looked at the Seleção and made a calculation. Marcos Antonio Senna da Silva was born on July 17, 1976, in São Paulo. He grew up poor, started playing football in the streets, and worked his way through the lower divisions of Brazilian football, Rio Branco, America SP, then finally Corinthians in 1999, where he won the Série A, the Campeonato Paulista, and the FIFA Club World Cup. He was 25 years old when he moved to Spain in 2002, signing for Villarreal, then a modest club, for €600,000. He had no profile in European football. Nobody knew who he was. What followed over the next 11 years was one of the most remarkable late-blooming careers in football history. He became Villarreal's captain. He helped them reach the Champions League semi-final. He became one of the most respected defensive midfielders in La Liga. In 2006, aged 29, he was granted Spanish citizenship. The Spain coach Luis Aragonés called him immediately. Marcos Senna made his debut for Spain in a friendly against Ivory Coast. That same year, Spain went to the 2006 World Cup in Germany. Senna started. Spain were eliminated in the round of 16 by France. But Senna had performed well. Then came Euro 2008, Spain's greatest tournament. Senna started every game. He was the defensive midfielder who made Xavi, Iniesta, and Villa possible. The man who did the dirty work so the artists could create. Spain won the European Championship, their first title since 1964. Several journalists named Marcos Senna the player of the tournament. A man born in São Paulo, who had been anonymous in Brazilian football until his mid-20s, became the engine of one of the greatest international teams ever assembled. And here's what Senna himself said, and I want to be precise about this, because his own words are the most revealing part of the story. When asked why he chose Spain over Brazil, he said, "I always knew the Brazil team was distant. After I was naturalized and played a game for Spain, I totally forgot about it. I am privileged. For Brazil, where could I play?" Where could I play? That sentence says everything. Not, "I hate Brazil." Not, "Spain is better." Simply the honest admission of a man who understood the mathematics of his situation. Brazil had too many players of his quality. Spain had a gap he could fill. This is where my opinion changes slightly. I don't think Marcos Senna betrayed Brazil. Not even close. But I do think he took the easier road. He knew Spain needed him. He knew Brazil probably didn't. And he made the rational choice. The problem is, sometimes the rational choice isn't the romantic one. And then, there's Diego Costa. The one that genuinely made Brazilians angry. Not disappointed, not surprised. Angry. Because unlike everyone else we've discussed, he had already worn the yellow shirt. Diego da Silva Costa was born on October 7, 1988, in Lagarto, Sergipe, in northeast Brazil, in Sergipe. His career took him from Braga to Atletico Madrid, where under Diego Simeone, he became one of the most feared strikers in Europe. Powerful, aggressive, technically capable, and physically relentless, Diego Costa was, at his peak, almost impossible to play against. In March 2013, Brazil called him up. He played 2 friendly matches for the Seleção. 2 games to investigate the switch. Brazilian fans called him a traitor publicly on social media. Diego Costa had stood. Costa ended his international career with 12 goals in 24 appearances for Spain. This is where I draw a distinction. Leaving Brazil at 17? I understand that. That's different. That's not building a new life. That's shopping for a national team.
But maybe we're asking the wrong question. Maybe the story isn't about loyalty. Maybe it isn't about betrayal. Maybe it's about mathematics. Brazil can only take 23 players to a World Cup. But every generation produces hundreds who dream of going. Some of those dreams simply need another passport. Brazil exports coffee. Brazil exports soybeans. Brazil exports iron ore. But maybe its greatest export has always been footballers. Some stay, some leave. Some become legends elsewhere. Germany found one. Portugal found one. Italy found one. Spain found several. And every one of them started in the same place. A football pitch in Brazil. Born in Brazil. World Cup players for someone else. The most Brazilian story there is. If you enjoyed this one, subscribe to Brazil Uncovered, because next time, we're looking at 5 even stranger cases. Players who represented countries most Brazilians couldn't find on a map. And trust me, those stories are even crazier.